Okay, here's one for you. When's a war a war?
Well, when you're playing Risk Senna, it's always war.
Yes, I know, the board game of global domination, but seriously, US and Syria, war or not?
Okay, I'll bite. It's a war.
Why?
I think we all agree that Syria is in a state of civil war right now, right? And America has been involved since the very beginning. So they have been supporting the opposition to President Assad's forces. They've been, supplying weapons and training moderate rebels. And they've been bombing the country since September. So if that's not involvement in a war, I'm not really sure what is.
Okay, but a counter to that would be, like so many pundits have been arguing, is that this administration has been really cautious to put its foot down when it comes to anything regarding Syria. Yeah, they're working with Turkey, but it's more so to secure that border between Turkey and Syria and target ISIS, not create a safe zone.
Right. I don't think anyone is suggesting that the US is trying to control a populated area of Syria, right? It's more to create a buffer zone for Turkey so that they can resist attacks. But at the end of the day, sovereign territory is being attacked, and for many people that's an act of aggression, even if it is against ISIS.
But there's also what we're seeing is the spillover of, US presence in the region, especially since the Iraq War in particular.
Yeah, so it might not be a war against the Syrian government or Syria as a country. Maybe it's more of, like a new front in the global war on terror that seems to be never ending. And that so-called war gives the US pretty much carte blanche to do whatever they want, whether it's, bombing targets in Syria or Iraq or, drone targets in Somalia, Yemen, and Pakistan.
Yeah, totally. But let's roll it back a bit. I mean, war, violent aggression between states, there are international guidelines for it. I mean, the UN Charter pretty much says that in order for you to take military action against another state, you need to be either restoring international peace or defending yourself against a threat, a real threat, a real attack.
But we both know that UN charters aren't really, followed, especially when it comes to war. The Iraq War, to many people, was illegal under international law, but has anyone been prosecuted for it?
It's all political calculation at the end of the day. I mean, of course, the United States is not going to, quote unquote, declare war against Syria. They don't want to get involved in another official, at least, quagmire in the region, especially after Afghanistan and Iraq.
And, who declares war anymore? Do you even have to declare war to be involved in a war? If you think about it, the US provided the weapons that Israel used in Gaza last summer. They are providing the cluster bombs that Saudi and their friends are using in Yemen right now.
Right, and war isn't always about sending in the ground troops to have this sort of long-term sustained military campaign. That is such an outdated definition.
But if you ask any American right now, what does war look like, what are they going to say?
They're going to say Iraq, Afghanistan, World War I, World War II.
Right. When people think of war, they think of Hollywood films, like a bad guy and a good guy, two clear sides, a clear start date, and, hopefully a clear end date. Okay, how about this? Are we now entering a post-war era, or even War 2.0, where it's not the war that we think of, these, heavy military campaigns against a different country, and instead it's operations on a very, unending war against an ideology?
We're not post-war, it's not War 2.0. I think we're doing what we've always done, which is change the rules of war whenever it's convenient to us so that we can make killing people and taking land easier.
Bigger issue, the Syrian conflict will not be resolved on the battlefield. That's what this guy told the UN earlier in September. He says the reason ISIS has gotten so strong